Hey y'all, welcome back to Sipping Tea with the Max. It's your girl Melissa.
And I'm Crystal, and today's show is going to be a good one. We're going to be talking about hyper independence. And so the question is, does hyper independence come from trauma? So there are a lot of things I want to explore with this. So I want to ask you something first, Melissa. So let's start off with the basics. What is hyper independence? What do you think it is? And then I'll tell you what I think it is.
Okay, so I think hyper independence is not accepting any help at all, even if you do need it. I think it's not trusting people because you've been let down. And I just think it's like you trying to do everything yourself, you trying to control the entire outcome. That's what I think hyper independence is.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I got to. It's where you do everything by yourself. So basically the same thing, what you said, you don't want to ask for help even if you need it. And I feel like this is something for me that has came a bigger topic in the last few years because I know 100% growing up it was never a topic for me, or if it was, either I was in a space where I could not hear it or receive the topic or the subject, or I just, or it just never was something that was big. And I feel like, now in this time, like you hear a lot of people talking about it. How did you first start hearing about it? Do you remember?
Well, I want to ask you something really quick. Are you saying that it was just normalized when you were younger and so you didn't really like, it wasn't really an actual thing, or what do you mean by that? Like you wasn't able to receive the topic.
Meaning that I was so focused in on what I had to do. It's just not something that I would have entertained at the moment. So if somebody may would have said something to me, or I may would have overheard that conversation, I would not have entertained it or been able to receive it, just because the simple fact is kind of like, it's not on my radar. Like I don't have time to figure out if I am trying to do everything by myself, because I'm so zoned in, I have to do everything by myself. Deciding, I ain't gonna say deciding, but like just being like, oh, I don't want to do this by myself, and this, and the reason why I don't want to do this by myself never came to me, like to even want to think about it. So it could have been around. I just wasn't in a space to receive it, is what I'm saying. And I don't remember any of my friends having that conversation. But so to me, it doesn't seem like it was something that a lot of people talked about or knew about at that time.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I can see what you're saying. Um, to answer your question, I think I probably did hear about it on social media initially, just because, or maybe it was around COVID time when stuff really started to like peak, like with the whole therapy topics and just people explaining more think trauma responses, or like just different things that we would normally talk about in therapy. It just got, what is it called, like people just talked about it more on social media and it became really common. So I would say that's probably how I originally heard about it.
Okay, and so I can see that, because I feel like that's around the time where like a lot of things started to get bigger, and a lot of information started to just became widespread, and a lot of self-help became big around that time. And to me, acknowledging if you are hyper independence and where it's coming from is part of self-help. But I think, but did hyper independence come from something traumatic that happened to people? So, I I want to say yes, but I like to play devil's advocate, and I like to think that maybe it didn't. But maybe it didn't for everybody, but I can't think of an example where a person would be hyper independent and it didn't come from something traumatic. So do you agree with the topic or disagree, or what?
Well, I mean, I do kind of think it has to have come from experiences, which means, it was traumatic to them. So I don't want to necessarily use the word trauma because all the situations may not equal out to trauma, but it could just equal out to pattern recognition. And they're like, okay, I've seen this before, I've heard this before, I'm just gonna do it myself. Like it could simply be something like that. And I don't know if I would necessarily, just sit there and call it trauma.
What do you mean when you say they may have seen it before or they did it before? What do you mean by that?
So I'm gonna use myself for an example, right? So let's just say somebody tells me, hey, I'm gonna go pick up your favorite food when I get off of work today and bring it to you. Okay, so all day I'm looking forward to my favorite food. Like I'm like, yes, like I'm gonna eat good. And they come to my house, there's no food. And I don't want to say nothing because I feel like, I shouldn't have to say nothing. Because you the one that told me that you were gonna do it. And so if I bring it up and they're like, oh, yeah, I decided not to get it or I forgot about it, I just feel like now I'm not going to take your word ever again because you just brought something up to me that you did not have to suggest, offer, or say. I'm looking forward to it. And now I'm let down because you just chose not to communicate on why you are no longer doing it anymore. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, that's what I mean by like, oh, if I see people not taking their word for something, I mean, if I see people making promises that they cannot live up to or they pretend that they forgot, I will just not allow them to do any more things for me. It's just like, okay, you know what? You don't worry about that no more. It's okay. Don't even worry about the food. Don't if they were to suggest it again, I'd be like, it's okay. Don't even worry about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's an example I could use.
Okay. Yeah. I understand that that does make sense. Uh, so I guess what you're saying is just having like different situations like that happen over and over and you just adjust to it uh because of things that have happened in the past.
Yeah, it's just like if you actively see someone not living up to the promises they made and you didn't even ask for them, it's stuff they suggested, then that's like a problem.
Yeah, I 100% agree, and that was your example, and I also think that other examples could be where someone came over and you really needed help. The help could be moving furniture. The help could be moving in general. It could be you have a flat tire. It could be you need help with your oil change or you need help with something on your computer. So, and then you may have asked the person to come help and they say, "Oh yeah, I can definitely help. I'll be there at this time." And they just don't show up. Or they come up with a reason why they can't come and it's not something that's an emergency, or they tell you way later. So it's just, I feel like that is something where you just learn not to depend on people. And to me, it kind of goes into play where it's like a lot of people feel that women are too masculine is what they are, the words they are using. And from what I've been hearing, it's because women take care of everything by themselves and they don't, ask for help. But I think a lot of it comes from when things that probably have happened in the past where it's kind of like, well, you've shown me that I, just can't sit around and wait on you, that I have to figure out how to take it or do it by myself, then, it becomes I don't want to say a pattern, but it just becomes a way of life. And you automatically do it that way going forward because you know that you have to figure it out and you would rather just not wait on somebody else to come and help you. And
Well,
mhm.
so I was gonna say, so with that example that you just used, I feel like, well, this is my question: is this where boundaries would need to come in at, and would the consequence to that be you just cutting them off or you not allowing them access anymore? Because how are like the only way for you to believe them next time is if they do it, and what if they never do it? Like, so what is the solution to this?
I think it depends on a lot of things. It's gonna depend on who the person is, what you're asking them to do, like what your relationship is. with them and just how you feel about the person in general. So like if it's a family member, I personally don't feel like you can just cut them off. However, you can, like you say, create boundaries with them where it's more of, oh, I'm not going to ask you or expect you to help me in these situations. I'm going to clearly explain to you what happened, how this put me in a bind, depending on what it is, and just know for myself going forward, you may not be the person that I ask for help with anything because at this point you've shown me that I can't really trust you. So I don't want that to spill over to other areas where I allow you to like have me waiting on you for other things. And so for me, it would be more of like I wouldn't stop talking to that person. This is if this is a family member, I would just not expect them to do certain things. Like I would just look at like, oh, this is not that strong point, or this is not that strong point for me. So let me take another alternate route. So from that, I may either ask somebody else or I may just try to do it myself or pay. The easiest thing for me would be to just pay somebody to do it and call it a day. Because even because if I ask someone else, there's still the chance that they may not do it. They may do it, they may not do it. But if I have my money together and I could just pay somebody to do it for me, I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to use my mental or physical strength to try to get something done that I may not want to do or may not be capable of doing. I could just get a professional to help me out or to do it, and it's done. Now, if it's somebody like a friend, I would say that would be different, especially if that friend is always asking you to do things and asking you for help and you are there for that friend. So if it becomes where this is only a one way type of situation, then that I would still have the conversation with the friend and I would back off from talking to them. And also that goes for the family member as well. So if that family member is also trying to get me to do things all the time and I feel like I'm there for them and they're not there for me, I would back off from that family member. I wouldn't stop talking to them, but I would spend less time with them. And a friend, I feel like it will eventually go to where I would stop talking to that person because if it doesn't go both ways, then I think it's just a one-sided friendship. Like they're getting the best part of it. What do you think?
I mean, I think just with everything I've experienced in life up until this point, I just think it'll be a lot for me to try to like keep someone around when they do something like um what is the word, what is the phrase, like, just not doing what they said they was gonna do. Like that's something big to me. And I feel like, based on the situations we're talking about, it sounds like, it was an inconsiderate gesture. They told us at the last minute, or they just didn't say anything at all, or whatever the case may be. And it's like, for me, if you can't even have the decency to tell me in a timely manner, or to just say, "Hey, I'm sorry, I really did forget about that. Let me go get it right now," or "I can get it in the morning." If there's no like immediate solution, it kind of seems like they don't care about what is the word? They don't what is the word I'm looking for? OMG. I cannot remember the word I'm looking for. But it's just
Well, I
like,
mean, it sounds like you're saying they're not respecting your time and your energy and you as a person the way that you would respect them.
yeah, and it's just like that's stuff that I don't think that's something that I can let slide just because I've seen the outcome, too many times. And that's just something I don't deal with myself at this point.
Okay, so if this person has shown that you can't trust them with doing something you need, um, does that mean that like if you're at a family gathering, y'all can't play spades together? Like you can't watch a movie at grandma's house? Like you wouldn't even allow that person that type of space or to be in your energy for that time period because of what
Well, I think that's different because what you're naming is environments with groups of people. If it's one on one, no. If it's you calling me, no, not. talking to you no more.
Well,
But
yeah,
I can be cordial in spaces with different groups and things like that. Yes, I can. But I
yeah.
think that's what I'm saying. That's a different thing, though. I never said I couldn't be. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I hate this person. I'm never talking to you again. It won't be that, and it won't even seem like it's beef because it's not. It's just I'm no longer gonna talk to you because you have no consideration.
Okay. Okay. So you will talk to them and you'll be cordial with them. You just won't be close. Is that what you're
They won't
saying?
have access anymore. That's what I mean.
Unless you are in a group setting.
I don't think that's access. We're in a group. I'm not gonna intentionally ignore or not talk to somebody in a group setting that's gonna create more tension. I'm able to be mature and I'm able to be like, oh, okay, I know I'm not that cool with this person. I don't like this person. And we're able to play spades and we're able to watch a movie in a family setting without me like being like, oh, you should come to my house or we need to hang out again. No, I'm not gonna say nothing like that. I'm not gonna agree to nothing like that either.
No, I guess I'm just trying to, just because I feel like we're saying something close, but it's not exactly the same. So yeah, so when I say I wouldn't cut the person off, that's kind of what I mean as far as like, oh yeah, I would still, talk to you and hang out with you at a family setting or a group setting, or if you're at my parents' house or at a cousin's house, like yeah, I'm gonna still talk to you. Like if you want to say, hey, you want to ride to the store with me, I would do all that, but I would make sure that I put not put myself in a situation where um I am giving them my energy where I could it could be used other places and I'm not expecting them to do anything for me. So I wouldn't do that. But I would still like, try to have what I would call a relationship with space with them. What is it? Handle them with a long spoon.
I'm not doing all that. That seemed like a lot of work.
I mean, yeah, because I also feel like we have to have grace and compassion with people. So for me, that's where it comes from. It comes from a place of knowing that there are things where people feel like I may have done them wrong. And there may be times where I need grace or compassion. And the same thing with them, where they need grace and compassion for things as well. So that's kind of how I look at it, why I would try not to just cut people off completely unless they have done a lot or something like a bit something big that's malicious, like stole something from somebody, or to me just like something of that caliber.
I mean, just for me, I like peace and I like, peace of mind. So I just would prefer to not deal with those things. I don't want to have to, continuously have someone do something to me for me to finally be like, okay, this is enough because that's how trauma happens. So I would rather not do that. But I did want to talk about on a better note that I do feel like I was extremely like hyper independent in the past, and I probably still am now. It's just not as bad, but some ways that I feel like I got out of that is like, for instance, the other day, this guy he had asked me, um, did I need help with my groceries? I absolutely did need help, but I hesitated initially. But in my mind, I was like, Melissa, this is you accepting help. Just tell him yeah. And so I got help with my groceries because I didn't want to take them up the stairs. So it's like if I didn't have to do that, somebody could take that weight off me, then why not? Another thing I feel like I do is like when someone's holding the door, I used to like try to pick up my speed or run to the door. And it's like, no, I'm gonna continue my walk. They're holding the door because they want to. They see how far I am away. Like it's okay to like, walk at your own pace. But that's just me feeling like something I don't know, I've been doing to kind of like not be so independent.
Okay, so I think that was great, that you were allowing yourself to be open and allowing yourself to receive help with that. And for me, it just kind of helped me change my mindset so that I won't feel like a victim. I feel like a lot of times I'm like, oh, I can't depend on this person, and it kind of put me in a victim mentality, like, oh, they did that to me or they did this to me. And it's like I'm forcing myself to change how I look at a situation and knowing that, okay, well, that was the reason that it happened, but that's not how I have to move going forward. And so going forward, I'm trying to like make sure that I kind of use it to my advantage. So to my advantage, it may be where I'm like, well, because I know that I don't really like to depend on people. Let me do everything I need to do so that way I know it's going to be done at a certain level, a certain uh quality standard, a certain caliber. So even though it may not be the best thing for me to do, it's also more of me just knowing that whatever I need, I can't blame anyone for but myself because I'm the only person that kind of that is responsible for it. So although I know it's not the best thing to do, but it is just kind of helped me look at it differently.
Okay, so like you're saying that like this is you recognizing a behavior or what might have caused the behavior or the response and you're just trying to work through it and fix it.
Well, it's not only like recognizing it, but it's more of just owning it. I think that's what I'm saying. Owning this is who I am, this is what happened, and this is how I'm going to um use my characteristics to help me for the better.
Okay. I do think that is a good idea. Do you feel like there's, I guess, ways in your life now that you feel like, you could be more accepting to things or like something you just want to work on and you notice or anything like that?
I do feel like there are some things that I can work on, like, although I feel like I have gotten to the point where I allow people to help me more. I feel like being more conscious about it in the beginning. And also sometimes I will address the person. I'll be like, "Hey, is this what you're doing? Is this what like are you I want to be clear I want to be clear about what is being said or what is being done. Like, you're offering to do A, B, and C. Is that right?" And I will wait for the person to say it. So I feel like instead of me asking, I really could just make the assumption or move like this is what they were offering, the help that they were offering me, and just accept it and say, hey, thank you. And if that's not what they were offering, then they will address it at that moment. But I still feel like maybe it's part of me having a guard up when I
Mm-hmm.
say, oh, like, are you offering to help me? So it's like I'm saying, hey, I'm gonna accept your help, but I'm also like putting it out there to make sure there's not gonna be any misunderstandings and to let the person know this is what the expectation is. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think it's a good thing to ask though, because I think not asking, like you said, it could be still a part of the trauma response. So asking is like, you don't have anxiety about it. You're not going to be thinking about it. You're not going to be possibly or potentially upset if they don't do it. So it's like, it's kind of better to go ahead and just be like, hey, were you saying you were going to do X, Y, and Z this day? And they're like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I thought you knew. Like, no, I just want to make sure. So like now, you get what I'm saying? There's no understanding. I feel like that's something I could do better. I can ask instead of just kind of, because I feel like I do kind of what you just said just now. And I just think it may, basically, it's okay to ask.
Well, I mean, I guess it just depends on how you look at it. I think for me sometimes it's kind of like me asking also represents me being scared that you're going to let me down again. That's how I kind of see it. So it's kind of like I I want to take your help, but I'm scared to take your help because once I ask you and you say, yeah, you can't let me down, or if you let me down, it's gonna bring back up like old energy or old memories for me. So I feel like that's part of me asking why. I mean, part of me asking if this is your intention to keep me from putting myself in a situation. That's why it made me think that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I feel like you should ask instead of just letting it happen because I feel like you're trying to avoid holding people accountable. Do
Well,
you get what I mean?
I'm trying to avoid putting myself in that situation where,
Like being hurt.
yeah, and it's not to, well, I guess I don't see it as holding them accountable. I see it as though I don't want to, I guess you can say holding them accountable. I don't want to have to cut you off. I don't want you to put me in a situation where I have to cut you off, and that's what I'm saying. So yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah. That's what I think, this is all about us learning and reflecting and recognizing where these things stem from and how can we get better at it.
Right, I agree. So that's gonna be it for me, and that's it for Melissa. So if you're watching this, if you have any other comments that you want to put out there, please feel free to put it in the comment box below. We will